As a matter of fact, my first experience with New York City Ballet, like I said, was the 2004 centennial when I went to dance Ballo della Regina. And at that point, I had a very close connection to some of the people that work behind the scenes in New York City Ballet, because they have come to San Francisco and taught me and staged some of the work, right? So I knew some of the teachers already, and I particularly knew Christopher Wildon, who was at the time the resident choreographer for New York City Ballet, but he had come and done a work for San Francisco Ballet called Continuum, which was with music by Ligeti, and it was a continuation of his big piece Polyphonia, which he had done in New York City Ballet, and it was sort of a trilogy, right? So I had worked with him, and Christopher was in New York when I went to perform, and when I finished my first performances, he came backstage with Lourdes, who they were very close. They were very good friends because they worked together in New York City Ballet, and Lourdes was retired, but Lourdes and him were in the mix of starting, or had already started. No, they were talking about it, but not fully yet realized. It was 3 years later that Morphosis, the Wildon company, came to life. Lourdes Lopez was the executive director, Christopher Wildon was the artistic director and choreographer. So he introduced me to Lourdes right away that evening, and I met Lourdes and George, her husband. And then years later, when I decided to leave San Francisco Ballet, they had started the Morphosis company. And before I joined New York City Ballet, I danced with the Morphosis company for the summer. And then whenever I was off from New York City Ballet, I will join them on tour. So that was, a great experience for me to get to know both of them better. Lourdes, George, Christopher, obviously. So I have always been aware of her. I have always been very friendly with her. I've always admired her, her career at New York City Ballet, her career as an executive director for Morphosis, and then her 13 years here, So yeah, I'm lucky that both Lourdes and Edward I knew in different moments.